Okay, so today I want to talk about recently that Donald Trump has called Canada wants to be like he wants Canada to become the 51st state of United States, and he kind of mock the Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau, as governor, which obviously is um, inappropriate. And as a Canadian, as a Taiwanese Canadian, I found this very concerning because Trump he had expressed his desire to invade Canada, even though he said annex, right? But what's annex? It's the same that Russia wants to annex Ukraine. So basically, what Trump just did was announce that he wants to invade Canada. And I think this is why right now he is more than willing to give 20% of the land of Ukraine to Russia because on the appearance he might present himself as the savior for the United States, as the righteous person, as the righteous leader. But deep inside, we know he is one of those people who practice cult practice, and I'm not sure about witchcraft, but just by the code of personality, that you know that he is not a good person to be your leader. Unfortunately, for the United States, it's a two-choice system in the election. The Americans have been conditioned to only have two choices, and they think that is freedom. But no, freedom is sometimes thinking about outside the box. And the best way to brainwash the people is by telling them constantly that this is the best. Your country, your religion is the best religion. Your country, the best country, and everything you have is the best. So they will not differentiate what is good and what is right because people want to seek what are the best for them. The same goes to certain religions. Okay, that says, "Oh, you are the best people," and that is why that religion has a difficulty to adapt to progress to evolve because they think that their religion they are really good enough, so why do they need to change? The same goes to the American voting system, that by constantly telling Americans that you have the best in the world, most of the Americans will not think about it. They will just say because we have the greatest thing. And one of the key issue that I have with that is um, when people think about best, they think what they have is the best. There's an arrogance, ego, and pride in their understanding. So that's a big issue with it. Okay, and it's good to incite patriotism for your people, but once the patriotism become fanatic and become fascism, it's gonna be a problem. And here we see USA is moving towards World War II Germany. Yeah, pretty much the same. World War II Germany, Hitler wants to fight a two-front war, okay, against uh, the Western European countries and against the Eastern European countries. Uh, United States declared a tariff war, but he said he won't post it. Donald Trump wants to post it. So, but still, that tariff war is coming up to the north against Canada and down to the south against Mexico. And the issue that they said is because of the border, the fentanyl and all kinds, right? Now the problem for this is if there's no business for the drugs, like why would the drugs shipping from those two countries to the United States? That means there's a problem with the American health system, that where a lot of veterans, where a lot of those people with PTSD, they relied on those illegal drugs to ease their pain. So instead of saying, "Oh, you guys are just doing drugs," think about why people are buying cheap drugs or expensive drugs to ease their pain. Okay, But besides that, let's go back to the two-front war. No nations in history or in the world ever won a two-front war. Not the Germany, not the Jin dynasty during the ancient Chinese time, and I don't think any nation ever won two-front war, especially when a nation think himself as big and strong and is ready to bully others. That is problematic, you know. And for all the people that supports USA to doing that, you also need to be careful on that, because if USA is willing to betray Ukraine so they can get what they can get, like monies, they can get their mining rights, and they can probably get approval from Russia when they want to invade Canada or Mexico. Think about this. That means USA will also betray any nations. It will betray the NATO. It will betray Turkey. It will betray Taiwan. It will betray Japan. And we need to look at nations in their character. Okay. USA has a tendency to want to set up rebellions in countries, and at the same time, once they find the countries or the new government administration of the country that they were trying to manipulate or support no longer have their best interest, then they will just abandon them. Yep, that is, if you look at history, it's the same. Now on Russia and China, is a different story. Okay, I'm not politically, I'm not Chinese. I'm more on the Taiwanese side. But if you look at China, China has this tendency that it will support its ally state to a point where the current government administration will suffer huge losses. We look at Ming Dynasty, we look at Song Dynasty, and we look at the history of Chinese. They have this tendency of supporting their alliance until the current government administration also suffer heavy losses. Sometimes the dynasty just ended because of that. So think about nations according to their characters, right? And so can Americans be trusted? Not really sure. But can the Chinese be trusted? Well, they are two very, very different characters. Now, here I want to say one more thing before I end this. There is a war that occurred about almost 200 years ago. 200 years ago. It's called War 1812. Now, why this war happened or occurred was because USA wants to annex or invade Upper Canada and Lower Canada. The war ended inconclusively, okay? But now here's a tricky question. Why does Canada exist as an independent nation right now, when the purpose of 1812 was for the United States to invade Canada and annex it? The Americans had this desire for manifest destiny because they believed God gave them the entire North America, the entire continent, as their inheritance. Now here's a key issue, is that you can dream all you want, but the reality is this: Canada existed. That means War 1812 did not end well for the Americans. So I think the Americans wants to be very, very careful. Not the people, but the government needs to be very, very careful when they want to annex Canada, because it's not going to happen. It will not succeed. And whether you win or lost, it'll be a bad idea for you. If you win, Canadians become Americans and they will all vote Democrats and you guys will just suffer. But if you lost, hey, the Canadians just defeated one of the mightiest nation in the world and you'll be humiliated. So either way, it's a loss and loss situation for the Americans. So the American government should think twice, and Donald Trump should think a bit more before he speaks. I'm not a fan of Kamala Harris. Um, I was actually more pro-Trump during the first term, but I think this time he went a bit too far. Okay, don't betray your allies. Don't mock your allies, especially your neighbor. Okay, keep your neighbor close. Make them your friends, even if something happened in their houses. You know, be kind, be gentle, be supportive like a human being. Do not let your ego surpass your ability and your capacity to do things, because pride goes before destruction, and the Lord hates a haughty heart. So that's today's share. God bless you all.